Hey everyone, welcome to the National Center for Circus Arts Family Circus Training at Home series. I'm James, and today we'll be looking at Tightwire. Tightwire artists have incredible balance skills. They're really good at balancing themselves on anything and anything on themselves. We're going to look at a few different exercises to help train your balance while you're stuck at home. Before we get started, remember once again that safety is the most important thing at play here, and I'd like to ask parents to remember our three main safety rules. So number one, kids should be supervised at all times. Remember, this is a family circus session, so a lot of the activities involve adult and child anyway, but even for the exercises that can be done solo, we recommend that somebody's on hand to keep an eye on things and supervise things anyway. Number two, remove all hazards. Keep your training space clear. Look out for anything sharp or dangerous that might damage you or that you might break. Remember, if you start to use any household items in a different way that you think might be dangerous when your child is left unsupervised, maybe think about restricting access to those items when you're not around. Finally, most importantly, number three, be careful. Remember that circus is an inherently dangerous activity and you are ultimately responsible for your child's safety while you're at home. Anything you're unsure of, anything you have your doubts about for your child or in your home, we recommend that you don't do it, find something else. We've done our best to make sure that all the exercises are as safe as we can possibly make them, but remember, every home is different, every person is different. You might not find that all of them work for you. So with all that being said, if we're ready to go, then let's get into it. So step one, as we said, good Tightwire artists, really good at balancing. You want to test out how many different ways can you balance by yourself. Here are some different balance stances from the easiest to the most difficult. Have a run through, see which ones you're able to do, see which ones you find difficult, and see which ones are impossible. When you try these, you might find that balancing on the ground is quite easy, but on the wire it's going to be a totally different story. So if you're finding these exercises easy, we've also got some ways that you could make them even harder. One way you could make it harder is, can you balance something on your head or anywhere on your body while you do the balance? How many seconds can you do the same balance, but this time closing one or both of your eyes? And if you want a challenge that's really hard, try doing the same balances, but this time you have to move your head around at the same time. So the next thing that all good Tightwire walkers need to have is really good concentration and focus. For this next exercise, you're going to need a partner and something or lots of things to throw. If you tried the skills from our juggling session last week, you'll probably have lots of different things you can throw. Just make sure this week that everything that you're going to throw is as soft as it can possibly be. You're going to stand in your favorite balance position, and your partner is going to throw as many of the soft objects at you as they possibly can. They can throw them at any part of your body to try and knock off your concentration and get you to lose your balance and come down. If you want a different challenge or you don't like having things thrown at you, here's another version you can try. This time, instead of throwing objects at you, your partner is going to balance as many different objects as they can on top of you while you stay in your balance. Your goal is to see how many different things you can get balanced on top of you without letting any of them drop or without losing your balance. And now, we're going to move on to step three. So most people are able to get really good balance by staying really, really still. But Tightwire walkers have to keep their good balance even while they're moving. Here's some ideas for how to move across the space while challenging your balance. So for the first challenge, you're going to need lots and lots of paper. You're going to put the paper anywhere you like, all the way along the floor, and your job is to get from one side of your room to the other side of your room. You're only ever allowed to balance on the paper. Now in the beginning this is going to be quite easy because the paper is going to be really big, but every time you get across successfully, you have to fold the paper in half. That's going to give you less space for your feet until eventually you might even have to be up on your toes. Just remember, you're not allowed to touch the floor. And the second challenge gets even harder. You're going to need some socks. Starting with 2 pairs of socks, lay down on the floor wherever you want them to begin with. Your goal is once again to cross to the other side of the room. You can only step on the socks. Once you've got as far forward as you can, you're going to need to move the socks from behind all the way in front to be able to get to the other side of the room. Remember, you can't touch the floor, not even with your hands, so be really careful when you're putting the socks back down. Now, if you want to make it really hard, Try doing the whole thing with just one pair of socks. So now our balance is getting pretty good as a wire walker. We've got one final challenge. Remember at the start I said Tightwire walkers could balance themselves on anything and anything on themselves? Your final challenge is to see what you can balance on yourself and still move around. If you want the ultimate object balancing challenge, you're going to try and balance something really, really long. Normally at the circus we use these peacock feathers because they're really great for learning how to balance things. Don't have one of these, that's okay too, because you can try the exact same challenge with some paper. All you've got to do is scrunch the paper up till it's nice and thin. You're going to put it on top of your hand, and the challenge is to keep the bottom underneath the top at all times. So that's the end of our Family Circus Tightwire Walker challenges. We hope you had a good time. Let us know if you have any questions or comments about the exercises. Otherwise, thanks very much, and we'll see you next time.